This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, I think we have established this over the years. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Friday, July the 17th of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
With streams so crisp that you can feel the sarcasm in your ear holes. Radio Big.
Yep, sarcasm in your ear holes is definitely the way to go about it, as we are talking about Radio Big. That is for sure, as we are talking. So anyways, how are you? How's it been? How's the last 24 or so been for you? Hopefully good, hopefully grand. If not, maybe we should have a brief discussion on what we can possibly do to make things a little bit better, because that would be great.
Duh.
So let's kind of think about that. So let's talk about it. It is Friday, and it is the Rated R Safety Show. So what does that mean? It definitely means that it's Freeform Friday. And with that being said, it just means that we get to play
Catch Up.
And why I say catch up? Because we get to read everything and talk a little bit about everything that we did not discuss earlier in the week. But here's the fun part. We still have some people that will come in and talk about the crap that is going on out there in the multiverse. So don't worry about any of that stuff. So we'll make sure to take care of that aspect of it. And then from that particular portion, if you want to interact and do some things here on the show, not hard to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. So I think it's kind of funny that all you have to do is just go there. And then once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging, audio, video, text messaging, and then we kind of get it moving and grooving. Kind of a cool stuff. So one of my favorite things that we get to do on Friday, I'm not going to lie, because it's just an interesting piece of media, if I really kind of give it to you this way. We do this little thing that we call the Weekend Review. Really love that thing. I don't know why. I just think it's just so interesting on how we have to get that clip together. So with that being said, I am being told that I should probably play this first before we go forward. So here's this.
Well, hello.
We're happy to be here.
This is going to be fun. Just sit down and relax.
This is the hottest show right now.
You don't worry about anything.
The show is about to start.
Quiet, everyone.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, so there you go. Quiet on the set. Let's go ahead and get moving right away. So let's go ahead and do this. We are going to have our lovely people from Feature Story News show up here in just a bit. But let's go ahead and do the weekend review first, because I think it's such an important aspect to the things that we do around here. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger announcing he is one of 7.4 million Americans aged 65 and older living with Alzheimer's. The diagnosis comes more than 17 years after Sully expertly landed his crippled passenger plane on the icy Hudson River, saving everyone's life.
The World Cup, Argentina, the defending champs, pulling off another dramatic comeback, stunning England in the final minutes of their semifinal match.
Now Argentina will try winning back-to-back titles in what could be the last ever World Cup game for 39-year-old Messi. To do it, they'll need to get past Spain.
Actor Sam Neill has died. The actor's family says his death was sudden and unexpected. He's previously been diagnosed with a form of lymphoma. His family says, though, he was cancer-free when he died.
The parasitic intestinal illness, cyclopsoriasis, continues its rapid spread, with the number of cases in the state of Michigan now nearing 4,000 and hundreds more being reported in other states across the nation.
Let's listen to President Trump now from the White House.
Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure, one where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence, revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure.
Canadian wildfire smoke pushing dangerous air across major American cities. Skylines in Chicago, Philly, New York shrouded in smoke. Right now, tens of millions under hazardous air quality alerts, forcing many to break out those masks for the first time in years.
Well, some news from Washington after weeks of speculation about his health. Senator Mitch McConnell just released a photo of himself in the hospital to prove that he's okay.
Okay, so there you go. A lot of stuff going on in the weekend review, because that is kind of what we do around here. So there you go. What do you think? I'm just asking because, man, it becomes so intriguing in regards to stuff that's going on. So what do you think? I mean, do you enjoy the weekend review? You can hit me up on callinradio.com. So there you go. So do you ever do this on Fridays? This is what I like to do on Friday. So here's the question.
What are twins' favorite day of the week? Tuesday.
Do you get it? Okay, cool. So that's the Friday joke from Alexa, because that's just kind of what goes on. I kind of try to steal that clip every Friday, and then what happens most of the times is that I tend to forget to play it. So yeah, that's on me. That's not on you. So let's do this. Let's not torture you too much. Let's get you into with our friends here from Feature Story News for them to tell you what exactly is going on in the multiverse of things. So if you're good with it, I am definitely good with it too. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Paris, I'm Ross Cullen. US President Donald Trump has accused China of meddling in US elections. In a primetime speech from the White House, Trump made the case for Congress to pass enhanced voter security legislation. However, there are fears his latest election-related claims will backfire on the Republican Party in the upcoming midterm elections in November. President Trump has repeatedly made unsubstantiated claims about voter fraud and foreign meddling in his 2020 election loss to Joe Biden. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Some startling claims from the US president during this Thursday night primetime address. Here's a man who has long claimed that the 2020 election was stolen from him, that it was rigged. Tonight, he said that he provided evidence and facts to show that it had been stolen and rigged. That evidence has now been published on the White House website. He says that China managed to infiltrate the 2020 election and the run-up to it and were able to influence the outcome. He claimed that China managed to steal about 2/3 of the US population's sensitive data. About 220 million Americans were compromised. But he also said that there was a tremendous cover-up by the US intelligence community not to bring these claims to light.
The US has launched a new wave of strikes against Iran for the 6th night in a row as the two sides continue to battle over control of the Strait of Hormuz. US Central Command said the attacks were intended to further degrade Iranian military capabilities, but Iran's military command has threatened to crush all infrastructure across the Middle East if US President Donald Trump carries out his warning to strike Iranian bridges and power plants. The escalating conflict has also exposed growing tensions between Washington and its closest regional ally Israel, with US Vice President J.D. Vance publicly acknowledging that elements within the Israeli government have tried to steer American war policy. Jagruti Dave reports from Washington.
There are a lot of people in the US and Israel, critics, who say that the deal did not do enough to curb Iran's missile program. So J.D. Vance said, "I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there have been people within the Israeli government who are trying to shift us away from that policy because they want to continue the military campaign." But he also went on to say there are many countries and allies, as well as adversaries of the United States, who try to influence American policy.
Canadian wildfire smoke has worsened sharply across the United States, with Detroit recording an air quality index of more than double the federal hazardous threshold, and air quality alerts now cover at least 17 states and some 115 million people. There are currently more than 800 fires actively burning in Canada, including 30 new blazes that sparked on Thursday, and the vast majority are burning out of control. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking today at the political transition underway in the UK. Sir Keir Starmer will leave number 10 Downing Street on Monday, and Andy Burnham, the former mayor of Greater Manchester, will move in as the country's 7th leader in a decade. He's promising to supercharge the devolution of power and resources away from London to the country's regions, including places like Liverpool, where the mayor, Steve Rotherham, is a close political ally and old friend of the country's incoming leader.
We need to accelerate some of the great stuff that's already started under Keir Starmer's government, but also that we'll learn the lessons from what we've done over the last 9 years together with devolution. You can't have a monolith like a national government expected to deliver quickly for all parts of the UK. It simply can't happen. It hasn't happened. There's evidence there to suggest that that's one of the inhibitors to economic growth. Our country, we're one of the most centralized democracies in the OECD. So why have we had this lengthy period where areas feel they've been left behind? And it's because Westminster's too far away, and decisions taken more locally by people who understand their areas are far better.
We'll find out on Monday who will fill Mr Burnham's cabinet, the appointment serving as the first big test of his leadership. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
And now here's another look at the top stories around the world. US President Donald Trump has accused China of meddling in US elections, calling for Congress to pass enhanced voter security legislation. The US has launched a new wave of strikes against Iran for the 6th night in a row as the two sides battle over control of the Strait of Hormuz. And the UK's incoming Prime Minister Andy Burnham will make a speech on Friday before taking over from Keir Starmer next week.
You are listening to a renowned safety expert, Dr. Jay Allen, on Safety FM. Changing safety cultures, one broadcast and one podcast at a time. Join the fun on social media and find us on Facebook at Safety FM.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and free premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Oh, yes, you know how it is around here. It's definitely some self-explosion going on inside, or is it implosion? Now I'm not even sure which one we're going with, so that's something to talk about. So let's continue going down the path because there's always some things to talk about. So I don't know where to start. I mean, I know I should probably start with the serious stuff, but why? Why do we start with the serious? So according to reports, Senator Chuck Schumer farted on the Senate floor the other day. Yesterday, a TMZ reporter asked Schumer if he did. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Senator Jacob with TMZ, did you fart yesterday on the Senate floor?
Okay, so there you go. I guess that was a question that was not getting an answer. Okay, so I guess we should probably go a little bit more serious now because that's just kind of what we do. So clips from President Trump's primetime speech last night. I got some for you to take a listen to what he had to say. There is quite a bit of them, so let's just kind of do this and go through it, and then we'll kind of get to the other end here. So let's talk about it. Let's start off with the first one. Trump said that he is releasing critical intelligence, revealing the shocking info about the election infrastructure. Take a listen to this.
Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure. One where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence, revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure.
Now, so that's kind of the start of where it goes. And then he talks about China and the election fraud that he's claiming that they have enough information about. And when I say they, that would be the government itself. So take a listen to this.
The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China has signed a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project.
That's 2 in regards of what he's talking about in regards of the information. So as you are taking a listen here to the info that he covered last night. Of course, this is just taking some clips out in regards to what was going on. Also, Trump on the members of the deep state and voter data. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China.
Okay, so there you go. That's part of the information of what he's saying that occurred back in 2020. Then in the next section, he goes and he talks about China, how they wanted to pay the U.S. journalists to write negative articles about Trump. So here's what he had to say about it.
The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built the strongest military anywhere in the world.
So there you go. There's that. And then I'll leave you with this one. Well, I'm not going to really leave you. This will be the last one we play about it. Then we'll talk a little bit about this. Trump talks about the illegal ballots benefiting Joe Biden. Here's what he had to say.
But it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was kept out that was of importance.
So there you go. That is essentially the speech from the president yesterday. So what do you think here? So here we are in 2026, July the 17th, just to be exact. And we are 22 minutes into the show here. And the president last night spent time talking about the election in, well, we're talking about the 2020 election and what ended up taking place from the information that that they were able to acquire, and has now released it on a website where you can find the info yourself. What do you think here? Now, the meddling portion, let's say, for instance, it to be true. I don't know. I have no data. I have no pony in this race, as they like to say. You know, the people. Not much that you can change about it at this particular portion. And I'm not saying, hey, this is good. I'm not saying that this is bad. I'm saying there's nothing can be changed. Let's say, for instance, 100% accurate. Finding out this information 6 years later is not really doing anybody a good thing. But it becomes extremely interesting on what would be done going forward. So what is going to be the outcome of the next thing? That will be the question of everything that's happening right now.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, face for radio. That is exactly what I have, and that's why I do it the way that I do. So there you go. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things going on inside of the world. And here we go. NFL Hall of Famer Jerry Rice had a heated moment at the American Century Championship Celebrity Golf Tournament at Lake Tahoe after a fan appeared to heckle him. As Rice stepped up to hit the drive, someone in the crowd crowd yelled "4," which is immediately after his swing. The 63-year-old football legend didn't laugh it off. Instead, he turned towards the gallery, repeatedly asking which one before ducking under the boundary rope and jogging towards the spectator with the golf club still in his hand. A fan pointed out someone wearing green and blue, and Rice continued the direction before eventually returning to the course. By then, the mood had cooled, with fans applauding him and shouting support like, "We love you." Rice waved to the crowd and appeared to be smiling back to the plate. Take a listen to this.
Hey, yo, hey. Oh, go get him, Jerry. Go get him, Jerry. Go get him, Jerry. Which one?
I'm sure he doesn't like it.
Don't poke the bear.
Don't poke the bear is what was said in the background there. So let me just make sure that I understand this. You have a 63-year-old man. Somebody yelled "4" from the actual gallery, and then all of a sudden you're going to go chase them because you're in a celebrity tournament where somebody came up with a general idea of let's build a giant yard, and then in turn have a stick to hit a ball to go into a hole 18 times over. Yep, definitely sounds worth getting into an altercation about.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, so there you go. What an interesting time for sure. So take a listen to this because, I guess if we're going to go into the sports realm, let's talk about some of the shit that happened last Saturday. Conor McGregor says that his loss to Max Holloway at UFC 329 should be ruled a no contest after suffering a serious knee injury just seconds into the fight. McGregor returned to the octagon after more than 5 years away, but his comeback ended in 69 seconds into the bout when he injured his right knee while throwing a kick. Unable to continue, the fight was stopped, and Holloway was awarded a TKO victory. Following the fight, McGregor posted on social media that he'll receive the results of his leg scan as soon and argued that the outcome should be changed to a no contest, adding that all bets on the fight should be refunded. Despite McGregor's request, it is considered highly unlikely that the Nevada State Commission would overturn the result. Athletic commissions generally only change fight outcomes in rare cases involving failed drug tests, officiating errors of a certain type, or proven gambling irregularities, not injuries that occur during competition. McGregor is expected to undergo knee surgery while Holloway officially keeps the TKO unless regulators take the highly unusual step to changing the results. So there you go. So let me just ask a question here because it becomes interesting. If all bets should be refunded, this is my question, just bear with me. If all bets should be refunded, should he have to refund the money that he received for the fight? Now, allegedly, and it is an alleged, it was somewhere close to $30 million. I don't know. I mean, listen, let me just kind of tell you this, and this is where some people get frustrated. You know how sometimes people at work get pissed off that somebody else is making more money than they are and all that bullshit, and they talk about it all the time? If this deal or his agents were able to work out a deal where he's getting paid $30 million and he got paid $30 million for 69 seconds, good for him, number one. Number two, I mean, and let's not narrow it down. I'm talking about actual fight time. We're not talking about prepping and training and all that shit. But look at it from this particular standpoint. If he's able to work that out, would it be fair for him to return the money? I don't know. That's the question to ask. Should it be overturned? No. Here is the problem. And let me just kind of talk about this. And this is not going sports journalist, but I do watch MMA. The last fight that he was going to have, which was, I think, a little over a year ago, maybe a little bit longer, he pulled out a few weeks before the event itself because he had a toe injury, supposedly costing the UFC millions of dollars. So let's say, for instance, let's just use a hypothetical because there is a
rumors and speculation
that he had this knee injury prior. So needless to say, it was going to be a difficult pill to swallow if he ended up pulling out of that particular one right before. So there you go. Okay, so let me kind of give you an abbreviated version of this, even though we just spent a good chunk of time talking about it. President Trump delivered a primetime White House address claiming that China infiltrated 220 million American voter files in what he called the largest election data breach in U.S. history. He alleges the stolen information includes voters' names, addresses, phone numbers, and political affiliations, and said the Chinese government data exploration unit was behind the operation. Trump also accused Venezuela governor under Nicolas Maduro of developing methods to secretly alter votes, and later claimed newly declassified intelligence documents that showed members of a deep state worked to hide the extent of the foreign election interference. He announced that the release of hundreds of previously classified election-related documents, that the speech revisited Trump's long-standing claims that the 2020 election was tainted despite previous investigation and intelligence assessment finding more evidence and that voting machines were compromised on a widespread fraud and changed the outcome of a 2021 U.S. intelligence report concluded that China considered intelligence or influence that the 2020 election, but did not carry out the interference campaign, and that Venezuela lacked the capability to manipulate the U.S. election. Some major television networks, including ABC and NBC, chose not to air the speech on their broadcast network, a decision criticized during his remarks. So there you go. And keep in mind that there was a rumor circulating for a hot minute there that almost all four major networks were not going to carry it, and then it changed at the last moment. I know, just talking about what's going on. So take a listen to this one. Federal investigators are looking at California-based Taylor Farms, a supplier of shredded iceberg lettuce to Taco Bell, as the possible source of the nationwide outbreak that made sick in more than 5,800 people. The illness is caused by, let's see if I can screw this up, Schizoporia parasite, which contaminates fresh produce and can trigger prolonged watery diarrhea, stomach cramps, and nausea, fatigue, and weight loss. More than 100 people have been hospitalized, but no deaths have been reported. As a precaution, Taco Bell has temporarily removed lettuce, pico de gallo, guacamole, cilantro, onion mix from their restaurants, although no official food recall has been issued, and it remains unclear whether Taco Bell customers have become ill. Health officials are still investigating the source of the outbreak, which has hit Michigan hard with more than 4,300 confirmed cases. The doctors say that although washing produce can reduce the risk of infection, that they say that the outbreak can cling tightly to fresh fruits and vegetables, making it difficult to remove completely. The parasite does not spread from person to person, and it typically is treated with antibiotics when necessary. Investigation to the outbreak is ongoing. Taco Bell said, live mas, the parasite heard, and said, live in your intestines. So there you go. That's some way to take a look at it. That is for sure. And another thing real quick, let's talk about this. A White House teleprompter operator has been placed on unpaid administrative leave after allegedly making about $100,000 by using insider knowledge to bet on President Trump's speeches. Gabriel Paris, who has worked as a teleprompter technician since 2016, is accused of placing wagers of prediction of market calci, betting on whether specific words and phrases would appear in President Trump's remarks. The investigation by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission reportedly found that he profited in advance from knowledge of speech content, which the White House press secretary has called the allegation deeply unfortunate and a disgrace, confirming that Paris is cooperating with investigations and will no longer serve in the role while the matter or until the matter is resolved, better saying. So there you go. What do you think? Definitely makes it interesting. I mean, when you can start betting on anything, I guess this is where it becomes a very interesting aspect of, hey, let's go ahead and bet on what's going to be on a teleprompter. But hey, there is a market for everything. I try to say this all the time, and people want to believe, and people don't want to believe that that is the case. Anyways, it is Freeform Friday, so let's go ahead and do this right now. Let's go ahead and get you back into some more news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Paris, I'm Ross Cullen. US President Donald Trump has accused China of meddling in US elections. In a primetime speech from the White House, Trump made the case for Congress to pass enhanced voter security legislation. However, there are fears his latest election-related claims will backfire on the Republican Party in the upcoming midterm elections in November. President Trump has repeatedly made unsubstantiated claims about voter fraud and foreign meddling in his 2020 election loss to Joe Biden. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Some startling claims from the US president during this Thursday night primetime address. Here's a man who has long claimed that the 2020 election was stolen from him, that it was rigged. Tonight he said that he provided evidence and facts to show that it had been stolen and rigged. That evidence has now been published on the White House website. He says that China managed to infiltrate the 2020 election and the run-up to it, and were able to influence the outcome. He claimed that China managed to steal about 2/3 of the US population's sensitive data. About 220 million Americans were compromised. But he also said that there was a tremendous cover-up by the US intelligence community not to bring these claims to light.
The US has launched a new wave of strikes against Iran for the 6th night in a row as the two sides continue to battle over control of the Strait of Hormuz. US Central Command said the attacks were intended to further degrade Iranian military capabilities, but Iran's military command has threatened to crush all infrastructure across the Middle East if US President Donald Trump carries out his warning to strike Iranian bridges and power plants. The escalating conflict has also exposed growing tensions between Washington and its closest regional ally Israel, with US Vice President J.D. Vance publicly acknowledging that elements within the Israeli government have tried to steer American war policy. Jagruti Dave reports from Washington.
There are a lot of people in the US and Israel, critics who say that the deal did not do enough to curb Iran's missile program. So J.D. Vance said, "I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there have been people within the Israeli government who are trying to shift us away from that policy because they want to continue the military campaign." But he also went on to say there are many countries and allies, as well as adversaries of the United States, who try to influence American policy.
Canadian wildfire smoke has worsened sharply across the United States, with Detroit recording an air quality index of more than double the federal hazardous threshold, and air quality alerts now cover at least 17 states and some 115 million people. There are currently more than 800 fires actively burning in Canada, including 30 new blazes that sparked on Thursday, and the vast majority are burning out of control. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking today at the political transition underway in the UK. Sir Keir Starmer will leave number 10 Downing Street on Monday, and Andy Burnham, the former mayor of Greater Manchester, will move in as the country's 7th leader in a decade. He's promising to supercharge the devolution of power and resources away from London to the country's regions, including places like Liverpool, where the mayor, Steve Rotherham, is a close political ally and old friend of the country's incoming leader.
We need to accelerate some of the great stuff that's already started under Keir Starmer's government, but also that we'll learn the lessons from what we've done over the last 9 years together with devolution. You can't have a monolith like a national government expected to deliver quickly for all parts of the UK. It simply can't happen. It hasn't happened. There's evidence there to suggest that that's one of the inhibitors to economic growth. Our country, we're one of the most centralized democracies in the OECD. So why have we had this lengthy period where areas feel they've been left behind? And it's because Westminster's too far away, and decisions taken more locally by people who understand their areas are far better.
We'll find out on Monday who will fill Mr Burnham's cabinet, the appointment serving as the first big test of his leadership. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
And now here's another look at the top stories around the world. US President Donald Trump has accused China of meddling in US elections, calling for Congress to pass enhanced voter security legislation. The US has launched a new wave of strikes against Iran for the 6th night in a row as the two sides battle over control of the Strait of Hormuz. And the UK's incoming Prime Minister Andy Burnham will make a speech on Friday before taking over from Keir Starmer next week.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
So, do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com/one. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Here we go. 45 minutes past the top of the hour. And you are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. This right here that you're taking a listen to, it's called Velvet in Your Veins. Exclusively here on the Rated R Safety Show. I wouldn't normally tell you where it's available, but it's not. Because you already know. Just one more moment. Let's take a listen.
Makes you wanna stay. There's a current in the way that I say your name. Little sparks in your spine like a hidden flame. You can feel it now, don't pretend you don't.
So yeah, we go ahead and make some of these songs in house here. But you already know.
You don't need a reason, you just need the vibe. Stay.
Okay, so there you go. Let's continue talking and going down the path as we are hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show, doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. And if anything, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you need to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, go ahead and look around because there's information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com, To Write Love on Her Arms. So there you go. There you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. You take a look at that website, and it's always amazing the amount of pure information that you can find on there. So I would recommend strongly taking a look at that particular one, and then we'll go from there. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit more about some of the other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So as you are aware, it is Viernes. What does that mean? Well, it's Friday. So with the Friday stuff, what normally happens on Fridays? Are you kind of one of these people that we would deem a big moviegoer? If you are, is there any movies coming out today that you have any interest in? I'm just asking because there's always a good time when it comes to new movies. No, like seriously, I always think about this way. There are movies to go out and see almost immediately when they come out, but then there's other movies that I kind of question how long you should wait if you're going to see it, or if it's even something worthwhile to go to the theater to see. Do you think of anything that's coming out this week? I'm looking around, and we normally have a short list of new movies that are coming out today, and it looks like there's nada. Really? Is there a Friday, really, that there's no new movies, even with me jumping the gun? Well, I guess that's kind of the way that it goes. There's no new movies coming out today. So there you go. I mean, I guess I can give you new albums if you're interested in that, but that's not normally what we talk about here. We talk about other things. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, let's continue talking. Let's matter of fact, let's just jump ahead and bring some John Small into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute. Courtesy of Jay'sCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Sandra. Frank Lloyd Wright said, "An idea is salvation by imagination." Cool quote. Frank Lloyd Wright certainly knew about imagination. I was fortunate enough to work for a building company in the 1990s, or as the kids say nowadays, back in the late 1900s. While I worked there at this company, somebody hired us to build a home that was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. Now, he had been gone for over 40 years at the time, but the design of the home was still cutting edge. There were some construction challenges that we needed to think through, but it was one of the most satisfying projects I've ever been associated with. The finished product was a beautiful and amazing home. I only had a chance to see photos of the finished product, but someday I would love to see it in person. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
The State Department has approved a nearly $2 billion arms sale to Saudi Arabia, which includes advanced precision kill weapon systems.
President Trump urged defense contractors to speed up production, saying the U.S. makes the world's best weapons but needs to make them faster to keep up with conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East. Gary Beck reporting.
Israel and Lebanon have made progress in talks, moving closer to a pilot project that would transfer control of parts of southern Lebanon from Israeli forces to the Lebanese army.
The agreement came after the sixth round of U.S.-mediated talks between the two sides concluded in Rome. Kyle Norris reporting.
U.S. Central Command confirmed a second wave of strikes Wednesday targeting military capabilities used to threaten shipping lanes in the vital waterway.
This new offensive follows Iran's missile and drone attacks on U.S. allies in the region, including Kuwait and Jordan, with Iranian officials now threatening to target regional infrastructure if the U.S. hits their power plants. The fighting has killed at least 35 people in Iran and wounded more than 300 others, with strikes reaching areas near the capital for the first time in this latest round of violence. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Ukraine's parliament has appointed the head of the state energy company, Sergei Koretsky, as the country's new prime minister.
The move comes as Ukraine and the European Union agreed to strengthen defense cooperation, signing a letter of intent for a strategic partnership. Jessica Oakley reporting.
The Dutch government has reaffirmed its support for the International Criminal Court after the U.S. announced a campaign to dismantle what it calls the court's threat to American sovereignty.
A top official stressed that international courts must be able to carry out their mandates without outside interference. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Democratic Republic of Congo health officials are warning the true scale of the Ebola outbreak could be 2 to 4 times higher than reported, as confirmed cases surpass 2,000.
The World Health Organization says undetected transmission and rapid geographic expansion are keeping the response behind the epidemic curve. Liam White reporting.
The U.S. military has not ordered a full investigation into a February strike on a girls' school in Iran that killed more than 160 students.
CNN reports the Pentagon only did an initial check to see if the target was hit, and the president has indicated the findings of any probe will likely never be made public. Lawrence Keller reporting.
President Trump is welcoming Iran's release of an American citizen, even as U.S. forces launch a new wave of airstrikes targeting Iranian military positions near the Strait of Hormuz.
The American, identified as Dina Karari, was allowed to leave the country Wednesday after being held since December of 2024. The release comes as the U.S. military intensifies its campaign against Iran's coastal defenses, with the president warning he could widen attacks to include power plants and bridges unless Tehran returns to negotiations. Chris Anderson reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Pop quiz, hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar? Is it air conditioning? Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
Oh, yes, it's always air guitar, and don't you forget about it, baby. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in, 1850, Harvard Observatory takes the first photograph of a star, Vega. So there you go. In 1879, the first railroad opens in Hawaii. In 1955, Disneyland opens at Anaheim, California. In 1976, the ABA merges into the NBA. In 1978, Reggie Jackson's refusal to bunt causes manager Billy Martin to suspend him. In 1983, the first USFL champion, Mitch Panther, beats Phila Stars 24-22. And in 2009, Walter Cronkite passes away. And that's the way it was. Yeah, one of probably the greatest newscasters of all time. So there you go. Let's talk about some birthdays going on today. David Hasselhoff turned 74. Mark Burnett turned 66. And Luke Bryan, yeah, he turns 50 today. 50? How old is that? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding as I say that. So there you go. I didn't know Luke Bryan had a birthday this week. Good times there. So there you go. Okay, so let's talk about some things that you ought to know, because I always feel that that's going to be important. The FIFA World Cup Finals will air on Fox this Sunday at 3 p.m., and it's going to be Spain versus Argentina. So there you go. Spain versus Argentina. Oh, I would imagine, what is Camilla Monroe, or what is it? Not Monroe. Monroe. We'll be extremely happy if Argentina wins, but look that up if you want to know who she is. Okay, NASCAR, the Window World 450 airs Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern on TNT from the North Wilkesco Speedway. Also, tonight's Mega Million is for $672 million. Tomorrow's Powerball drawing is for $526 million. Let's see, what else do we got? Smoke from a massive Canadian wildfire drifted into northern United States yesterday, blanketing the region with hazy skies and prompting widespread air quality alerts. The smoke had already affected parts of the Great Lakes and spreading east, with officials warning that the pollution levels could be dangerous, especially for children and older adults. The people with heart or lung conditions air quality alerts issued several slates, including New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, Michigan, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Wisconsin, Delaware, and New Hampshire. The smoky conditions are drawing comparisons to the historic 2023 wildfire smoke event that turned skies orange across much of the eastern U.S. What else? Drivers are seeing another jump in fuel prices tension as the ongoing events go off again. Conflict with Iran continue to rattle energy market. The national average for gasoline climbed 15 cents to $3.94 a gallon, with prices expected to move back to about the $4 mark. Diesel has also become more expensive, topping $5 a gallon. And the first to hit this in 3 weeks. Higher diesel prices could eventually be passed along to consumers and increase transportation costs overall. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to end our time together at the top of the hour. I will be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so, I will be going over there to talk about the world of music and entertainment. If you want to go over there. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here on Safety FM with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world there. If I can't leave you with some words of wisdom for today, failure to prepare certainty means preparing to fall. And if you need some words of advice, crate softer cheese with greater ease by freezing them for 30 minutes before going through the grater. So there you go. Some things to think about if you needed that for information coming from me. Anyways, that's going to sum it up. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
You already know.